See the face, right? I know you see the face. Hey, I'm very familiar with this BLM activist on Piers Morgan's show. I reacted to a video with him and her that were really going at it. I think it was like about like 2 months ago. And let me tell you, she was so rude. She was cutting out the other guest on the show. It was very frustrating reacting to that video. I'm not sure how she is in this video, but I don't think it's going to be any different. Before we get into this video, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, and let me know what you think about the video in the comments. And with that said, let's get into this video.
A new bombshell poll published today shows that nearly half of the King's realms would vote to become republics if they had the chance. Caribbean countries cite colonial ties as the reason for wanting to part with the monarchy. And pretty disturbingly for King Charles, 10 of the 14 countries polled say they back the Sussexes, saying Meghan's treatment exposes racist views. It's ignited debate about whether King Charles should apologise for Britain's past sins, maybe even pay reparations. Would that make any difference? Or would it just fuel the fire of republicanism? Well, here with me now to debate this, the former royal butler to Princess Diana, Paul Burrell, the activist and organiser of Black Lives Matter protests, Iman Ayton, and the historian and royal author, Dr. Tessa Dunlop. Well, this will be a quiet debate, won't it? Well, you brought your earplugs, Paul.
I won't get a look in.
Paul, let me start with you. I've got a problem with this constant looking back in history, feeling guilty for stuff that none of us in this era actually did, and then having to say sorry for everything that we didn't do, and even now, apparently having to pay people today for stuff that happened to their ancestors many generations before. I don't really get what that achieves.
We should learn from lessons of the past. We can't change anything, and we should move forward. But the Queen's greatest achievement, his mother's greatest achievement, was the Commonwealth of Countries. She was very proud of that. I think if you could beam her down now, she would say, my Commonwealth. That should survive intact into the King's reign. So he should do whatever he can. Now, bear in mind, I've known this man for a very long time.
Yeah.
He has a voice. And he will say what he feels.
Here's the real problem he's got. There's another voice yapping away about racism. Two voices. His son Harry and Harry's wife Meghan, who for 3 years have branded the royal family a bunch of callous racists. That is now turning up in these polls because, understandably, frankly, black people in the Commonwealth around the world are going, whoa, really? They're racist, these people? And yet they haven't produced a shred of evidence for any of it.
You and I know the royal family are not racist. And you and I know that they pressed the racist button on the Oprah Winfrey show.
Yeah.
And they never apologised to the Queen.
Never.
She went to her grave thinking there was a racist in the royal family.
And after she died, they said...
What happened?
We never
didn't say that, the press said that.
We didn't mean to say it was racism.
Why didn't you correct it, Harry? Why didn't you tell your...
Well, we know why, because it made them... They weaponized racism and mental health to make themselves extremely rich.
I totally...
All right, Iman.
That is so true what Piers just said. That's what they did with racism. They weaponized it in a way to gain money and wealth. That's exactly what it did. Because that's like Piers said too. Where's the evidence? They always say, oh, well, it exists. No. We need evidence. Proof. Factual evidence. We need so we can handle that. For some reason they can't. The only time they could try to point it out is when a misinjustice happens between a white cop and a black person. That is it. Otherwise, they can't show no factual evidence. There's no evidence of sundown towns. There's no evidence of white supremacists doing drive-by shootings. There's no evidence. We want to know what happened in the past. Let us know what happening right now in the present, right now. That's all we want to know. Don't tell us what happened 100 years ago or even 50 years ago. We want to know now in the past, recent, maybe 5 years? We need evidence. Proof.
This is my problem. This has always been my problem with this racism narrative that these two have spun without any evidence, is that people around the world, particularly people of colour, they believe it. And why wouldn't they believe it? They're hearing the first person who wasn't a white royal bride say they're racist, these people. So then the damage is palpable, it's tangible, and it will lead, I think, if we're not careful, to a load of these countries becoming republics and the beginning of the end of the monarchy.
Thank you for your soliloquy.
No, thank you.
All right, no problem. So first and foremost, my feelings on the royal family and racism are not predicated on Harry and Meghan's willingness to identify it. That's the difference between me and you. We are talking about a country that was built off of racism, and we are referring to the oldest institution in this country that started it all. So that's the first thing. In terms of why black people and many others feel the way that we do, well, the monarchy is a symbol of white supremacy. Okay? White supremacy. That is the reason. Let me just
Why
finish.
does it make any difference if King Charles says sorry? Or why does it make if he pays money? What difference does that make?
Okay. So reparations...
How does that combat racism?
No, it actually does. So let me
The guy hasn't got a
Let me
racist bone in his body. He's done more for racism than any public figure in the country. Why should he be paying for the sins of people hundreds of years ago?
Okay, so can I finish?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So, the monarchy is a symbol of white supremacy, which is what black people have had to contend with for the last 400 years, notwithstanding the fact that Elizabeth, or every king and queen, from Elizabeth I.
You think the last late queen was a model of white supremacy?
Let me finish my point. You just asked me several questions. Let me finish my point.
Well, answer the question,
Right,
then.
I'm getting there, so just finish.
Well, hurry
Let me
up.
just finish, okay?
Hurry up.
So, every king and queen, from Elizabeth I to William IV, has supported and profited off of slavery. So, this is about the fact that this country was built off of racism, and that's
This
the
country
point. Wait, hold on a
also
second. This country
You can't just keep
stems
talking.
From, no, because I haven't even finished my point.
You
Piers.
can't just
keep
make
interrupting.
outlandish
You
statements
keep
about our royal family and not
interrupting.
expect me to jump in.
Piers, you keep interrupting. Can I finish my point?
This country also led the world out of slavery.
Okay, so can I finish my point?
A
Is that
long
right?
time ago.
Can I finish my point?
Piers has a point. You can't listen. You can't give out what part of history you want to take out and use. You have to give the full context of what you're saying. Just like Piers said, the British did lead the world out of slavery. They helped abolish slavery. You can't just miss that big part of history just to try to fit her narrative. That's what's annoying Piers. I totally get what he said. She's cutting that out and only putting it as just to fit her narrative, about just to go with the whole racism and the whole white supremacy. You can't do that. And this is where we went wrong in history. They cut out so much stuff out of history just to fill a narrative and just to program people from years since I was little. That's what they got us fooled with Roots. You guys remember Roots, the movie?
Yes.
Perfect.
But
So,
please finish it.
I will, no problem, just be patient. So, every single king and queen from Elizabeth I to William IV over a 270-year
You've just
period
said this.
supported the enslavement of Africans and profited as a result. So it
Yeah.
doesn't, it doesn't
And
take
this
any
country-
genius, hold on a second, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that this country was built off of racism and it stems from white supremacy, all of which is directly attributed to the crown, slavery and colonialism. To answer
you
your
now-
point, let me finish
You can't
my
just
point.
keep talking.
Piers, you keep interrupting.
Answer my question.
Let's have a conversation.
Answer my question.
Let's have a
We need
conversation. You spoke
mediation
about
here,
slavery.
guys.
You spoke about slavery. Let me answer the point.
I asked you a specific
Let's-
question.
I want to
Why
answer
should
the point.
King Charles
So let me answer the
be
point.
either
Let me
apologising
answer the point.
for what happened centuries ago
Okay, let me
or
answer the
paying money for it?
Okay, so what you're talking about is slavery. I'm not talking about slavery. Slavery can be traced back to Europe. The Greek slave trade, to be specific, in 400 BC, then the Roman Empire, and then we get to the Muslim conquest of 7th century.
And
Vikings,
black
late
people
history.
had slaves
So what
too,
we're talking about,
right?
exactly. So I'm not talking about
slavery
Piers.
comes in
I
many
am not
forms.
talking about
There is a lot of slavery around
Piers,
today.
So I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about colonialism, neocolonialism, racism, racial
Yeah.
disparities, and the racist system of oppression and exploitation of black people and white supremacist attributes, which have been rebanded under the
What's that got to
That's
do
what
with
I'm
King
talking about.
Charles?
I'm telling you why he needs to apologise and pay reparations.
What did
It's
he
not got
do?
anything to do with slavery.
What
Slavery is
did
an
he
element.
do?
I'm telling you, colonialism, neocolonialism,
He didn't
racism,
do that.
racial disparities and a racist system of white supremacist attributes. That is the legacies of the crown, slavery and colonialism that still remains.
I
to this day.
understand.
Let me finally get my point across. Lord.
Yes, we understand, but it's nothing to do with him. People change throughout years in history. That was his ancestors. Just like we keep saying, you can't keep bringing up the past. Name something currently or recently that he did. She says she can't. All she keeps going back is to with a crown and going back. You're only going back to the past. Name something right now why he should apologize and pay reparations. Why he should. That's it. Don't mention the past. What did he do? It's a very direct question, right?
You've
need
got
to
your
let me
point
finish.
across, but here's my point, my counterpoint to you. What's any of that got to do with King Charles,
Okay, so I'll
who
explain.
actually has been, I think, one of the great standard bearers in royal history for actually promoting racial equality and tackling racial
Okay,
injustice.
so let me
Yet you
explain.
want him to be issuing grovelling apologies for people hundreds of years ago,
So let me-
and you want him to pay money.
Okay, so I think black people would be far more inclined to get over it if it wasn't for the fact that the legacies of the crown, slavery, and colonialism still remain, which includes racism, racial disparities, and the racist global system of oppression and exploitation of black people. Which
All right, you're not
complaining
answering my
about.
question.
I am, but you don't want to accept it. That's
I
the
do.
difference.
No.
That's the difference.
You haven't explained
You
what-
also have the
what's
wealth of
that got to
economic
do with King
expansion
Charles?
as a result of exploitation of black people.
Let's
And
just-
you also
let's
have,
just-
and you also have
let
rich
Tessa
global.
speak now.
Hold on, you haven't even let me finish, Piers. No problem, no problem. I've understood
You've
how you
done
do.
9/10 of the talking.
No, you didn't let me.
Tessa,
finish. You didn't let me.
I
you've
wonder.
heard the debate.
I think you're both wrong, actually. On the one hand, we celebrate, and you certainly do, Piers, the idea of monarchy as continuity.
Yeah.
Going way back when. I mean, I read an article this week that traced the anointing oils to the Old Testament and King Solomon. You can't pick and choose which bits of that continuous historic line you like.
Yes, I can.
Well,
How is that
you,
that I'm
you
wrong?
can, but it's hugely,
But
it's
how is it that I'm
hugely
wrong? How is it that I'm
problematic.
wrong? What are you
And I
talking
would
about,
counter
Tessa?
to you, where we have the face of history and the physical form of history in our royal family.
White
When,
supremacy,
when
that's what
for
I'm talking
example,
about.
France, the Republic, outlawed slavery much later, and in the civil wars in America,
keep
that's what
talking
it
about
took in
slavery.
America,
Let me talk-
much
let me tell
later.
you.
So,
You
so
keep
my
talking
point
about
is, no, two
slavery.
seconds.
No, no,
Let me
no.
finish my point.
You
Iman.
see, you
Let her
want to
finish.
interrupt, but you interrupted me several
let me
times,
finish
Piers. I
one
see
more
your
You did all the
hypocrisy.
talking.
I see your hypocrisy right now. It's fine. I did all the
I
talking.
think
You
what
kept
you do,
interrupting me.
what we're doing here is
Let
we're
her speak.
conflating an individual
Back at you.
family with institutions of state. You can't expect a king to apologise. He doesn't have that power.
It's
He
about
would have
what
to
he
be
represents.
told to apologise
It's about what
by
he
the government
represents. He's already
because it's an
apologised,
institution of
Tessa, so I don't know what
state.
Do I have
No,
to? All right.
He's talked about
I don't know
sorry.
what
Excuse me.
He
Time
hasn't
out.
apologised.
Time
He
out.
hasn't actively apologised.
Time out.
And in terms of slavery,
Time out,
hold
time
on,
out.
you keep talking about slavery. Let's just be clear about slavery. Yes, you did end slavery. You've made that point and you've made that point, so let me address it. You did end slavery, and there was a clause in the contract that said, for example, that Jamaicans had to work up to 45 hours a week for the following 4 years, whilst you simultaneously paid off the slave owners and left the enslaved and their countries to rot. And then you transitioned to colonialism, where slavery still continued, and then you transitioned to the Commonwealth,
I agree.
where you continue to assert your dominance, exploit black people, and do it in a far
I
more dignified
agree,
way. while
Iman.
simultaneously-
I
This is
agree.
all-
It's-
the-
but it's
all
repugnant.
negative.
There are also. Excuse me.
Nobody's refused.
I see what she's saying, and I see where she's coming from. But she's still living out the part that Jamaicans in Jamaica owned white slaves. But some of these people keep forgetting they were white slaves. You don't gotta believe me. You go look it up. Jamaicans owned white slaves. And if it wasn't for the Africans conquering other weaker African tribes, we wouldn't be here right now, would we? Even so, the British used to have to camp out literally in the oceans just to stop Africans from selling slaves. They literally had to camp out in ships. That was after slavery was abolished. After they were still trying to sell African slaves in Africa. You don't gotta believe me. It's in history. Go look it up.
Can we all stop
No,
talking?
positive.
Nobody's refuting the repugnance of that
Can we
period of
please
history.
time out? The biggest problem with slavery right now is there are between 7 to 10 million slaves in India. Last time I looked, that is not as a result of white supremacy causing modern day slavery. I would rather we expend all our energy on current slavery issues
Now.
than going back
I'm
in the
not talking about
past,
slavery.
as we now do
I'm not
with.
talking about
We
slavery.
now go back in the past for everything,
Slavery then.
wallowing in self-guilt about stuff that had nothing
I'm
to
not
do
talking
with
about
us.
slavery.
Paul,
Legacies. You
Jump
ignored
in.
that
Well,
conveniently.
well-
Legacies of the crown slavery and colonialism. You ignored that conveniently.
Do you-
Please
okay.
continue.
This is such
Please
a
continue,
negative.
Paul.
This is a
legacy's
negative
going back
side.
how far? How far do you want to go back?
400 years, black people have been constant.
Okay, so
What
I
do you want them to do?
Okay,
I told you that.
So
I
do you
told
think
you
the
that.
Vikings should be paying me money for what they did to me?
See, you're talking about slavery. I am not. I already explained
I'm not
that
talking
to
about
you.
slavery.
I'm talking about colonialism,
You're not listening to me,
neocolonialism,
Iman.
racism and racial disparities that still contend.
Stop shouting. You're not listening to what I said.
You're not listening to me.
Should
This is why I'm
the
getting angry.
Vikings and the Romans also,
Hi, Paul.
through their modern day ancestors, be paying me reparations for what they did to my
Okay.
family?
So I'm not talking about slavery. I'm talking about colonialism.
It's not
neocolonialism,
slavery. You're
racism,
not
and
listening
racial
to me.
disparities. Yes, I am.
She's not
The
listening.
Vikings and Romans didn't make us
Yes, I am.
slaves.
No, yes, you're talking about the Roman Empire, which included
No,
slavery.
I'm
That's
talking
what
about the
you're talking
Romans
about.
and the Vikings coming over here and causing immeasurable harm
Yes,
to my
which included
ancestors.
An empire and
Should they
slavery.
should
An
Italians
empire and slavery.
and
I'm talking about
Norwegians be paying
colonialism
me
and
reparations?
neocolonialism. There's a
In one
difference.
sentence, one
There's a
sentence,
difference.
Iman, in one sentence.
Go ahead.
What do you want? In one sentence, what's your
Reparations.
idea?
Thank you, Tessa.
Money.
You want money?
You want money?
Reparations.
You want money? Okay.
Reparations.
Then I
Reason
want
why-
money from the Vikings.
You see, that's all that was. You saw she got it out of her. What do you want? Money. That's all this is. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna be respectable. Money. That's all it comes down to. Money don't solve everything. Look at some of the richest people. They are some of the most depressed people in the entire world. Tell me I'm lying. Money don't bring you happiness. And what happens when the money is gone? Then what? You know what you want? You know what's going to happen next? You're going to want more money. And when that money's run out, guess what you're going to want? More money. It's going to be a never-ending cycle. You just want to leech off the system to get an easy, free pass. For somebody to have sympathy and have guilt trips about what their ancestors did to yours. That's what you're looking for. Yeah, I just want money. That's all BLM was, money. BLM had all that money. Did they help one black person? Let me know in the comments. Black Lives Matter had all that million. They had almost $100 million. Now they're filing for bankruptcy. Did they help one black person? Oh, I thought so.
Kings and the Romans. Paul,
I think
Paul, be very patient.
No, but the Commonwealth
Yes, he has. He's
is
been quiet.
a force for good.
Yes.
Commonwealth
really?
countries. Yes, it is. They
Okay.
do.
Absolutely.
They work for each other. It's a family, a community of families that help each other. That's why it was formed. And
No, you benefit more. That's why it's formed.
no, we don't benefit
No, you
more.
benefit
They
more.
benefit
No,
as
what are you
well.
talking about? You benefit
They
more.
do benefit. Of
Paul,
course they do.
Paul.
Yes, they do.
Yes, I'm not saying that they don't. What I'm saying is that we benefit, you benefit, you benefit
Everyone
more.
benefits.
But
Exactly.
that's the way it
You
should
benefit,
be.
Imam,
you benefit,
Imam,
you benefit more.
Imam,
That's white supremacy.
Imam, how much money do you want from me?
That's what I keep talking about. Okay,
How much
so
money do you want from
the
me?
National Commission on Reparations said that Jamaica, for example, is
How much do you want from me?
1.2 trillion.
How much do you want from me?
It's not about my feelings and not from you. I'm not. This isn't about me. And
We've
you,
all got to
Piers.
chip in, right?
It
So
is.
But you
how
want it
much
from
do you
Justin
want?
Charles.
This
How
is
much
about-
money could
No,
I
this is
give
taxpayer
you
and the monarchy.
for something that
That's
had
why I want
nothing to
it.
do with
That's why I
me,
want it from both.
right?
That's why I want it.
How much money could I
No,
give
we're
you
talking
to
about
make
the legacies.
to make
Keep ignoring that
racism better?
conveniently. You
Nothing
keep ignoring
is
that
the answer.
conveniently. We're talking about the legacies of the crown slavery and colonialism, which includes
Oh, oh,
racism.
just one
I don't know why you've
and
come on deciding to
colonialism.
speak
I've
like a
told you.
robot today,
I've
but it's
told
not. It's not really
You don't
working.
listen because you don't listen. That's
Okay,
why.
But that, nor does talking to me like that. Doesn't work.
Okay, well,
right?
how about
But I will
listening?
happily
How about
pay.
listening?
If you could convince me that it will change racism one iota in this country, I will pay you a check for the damage inevitably that was done by my relatives when they weren't being attacked by Vikings and Romans. I will pay you reparations if I think you have any argument for why I should.
Can I give
And you
you
know
a
what?
response?
There isn't one.
Can I give you a response?
No,
You're
we've run out of time.
Hey, nobody gonna pay you that's for anything. Nobody gonna pay you for what you didn't personally went through. Nobody gonna pay you for what you didn't personally experience, what you didn't suffer for. You didn't suffer for anything. Your ancestors did. And all they wanted was freedom. And you go back to Africa, Africans were conquering other tribes and selling other Africans. That's how that worked out. Jamaica owned white slaves. Go look it up in history. You want reparations, you want money, pay you for what? You think that money gonna come for free? That's like Piers said, it's gonna come from each and every one of us. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. That money, they have to get that money back some way, some shape or form. Use your head. They're not gonna give you no free money without getting anything to benefit from it. And so she cut the other guy off. That's how it's supposed to work. Everybody's supposed to benefit off of everything. Not just one person, which just one black people that's the benefit off of stuff. All because of white people that own black slaves, they shouldn't benefit off of anything. You can't, you see on Piers, you can't name one thing in the current, in the present, that why people deserve reparations for slavery. Just like Piers said too, we should be focused on slavery that's happening in other parts of the world right now as we are speaking, even in Africa. Nobody's talking about that. See, if you were that concerned about slavery, let's be honest. And she's talking about racism. What racism? You know what I mean? Rich black people that are across the world that has money, wealth, stop. You can't show one strap. Or you see, all she could do is been up the past. That's the way. That's the problem they're having. You can't name one thing in the present. You keep talking about racism and the history of the crown, the history of this, the history. All right, everything is history. That's from the past. But we can't change it. That's why you have to name something that's currently going on right now in the present time. That's it. And she couldn't. Oh my God. Anytime she gets on it, she gives me like a straight headache. You see who she is. She's a BLM activist. The name alone tells you what they're about. The money. Same thing with Black Lives Matter. They couldn't show one shred of actual proof of racism or racist. They couldn't show. besides individuals. That don't even count. There are black people that are racist too. Spanish, Indians. Racism is everywhere, every culture. You can't hide from it. Do what you're trying to stop for black people. Meanwhile, black people do the most harm to each other compared to a white man. Let me know if I'm lying in the comments. Hey man, I love to hear you guys talk about this in the comments. She gives me a headache sometimes. Let's get straight to the point. He asked you a direct question. That was it. You want to give the long history of the crown. We're talking about now. Why you should pay it now. That's it. All they could do is bring in the past. You can't keep bringing up the past. I can't have a girlfriend and keep telling every girl that I meet, listen, before me and you date, you need to apologize for all the other girls that hurt me. What? You'd be surprised how quick she'll leave you. Any girl you're dating, let me know in the comments. They don't want to know nothing about your past ex-girlfriend. They don't want to hear none of that. That's the past. She's the present. That's exactly what she's going to tell you. It's the same thing right here. It's the past. It's done with. Let's focus on what's currently going on right now. Let's find racism and racists right now. And slavery that's going on around the world right now. Forget the past. Let's deal with the present. I'd love to hear you guys think about this in the comments. Enjoy the video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section. And let me know what you think about this topic in the comments, all right? With that said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out. You guys have a blessed day.